Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Legaltech in Central and Eastern Europe event. We are thrilled to have you join us today as where we will discuss legal technologies and its transformation impact on the legal profession. I would like to introduce our exciting panel speaker. Each are luminary in their respective fields who will share their insight and experience with us. Our first speaker is Przemysław Barchan from Poland. He is the founder and advocate at Barchan legal law firm. Przemysław's experience spans IT, TMT, and new technology law. He is member of several estimate organizations, including the Polish Chamber of Information and Technology and Telecommunication, the Blockchain and the New Technologies Chamber of Commerce, and the Legaltech Institute of the Polish General Bar Association. Przemysław also impacted his knowledge as a lecturer at SWPS University, focused on legal tech and innovation in the legal market. And one of the topics which we will discuss today will be education on the legal tech, so stay in touch with us. Next, we have Zödi, a seasoned lawyer and academic. Zsolt has had illustration career, having worked with Wolters Kluwer for 15 years, in various roles, including editor, publisher, and director. He has been a part of numerous legal technology projects and has written extensively on the subject. Currently, Zsolt is a senior research fellow in the Institute for Information Society, University of Public Service, Budapest. He has a PhD on legal database and has recently habilitated in legal informatics topics at ELTA. We are also joined by Lubomir Weiss, the Director of Product Development at Wolters Kluwer. Lubomir's role pivotal in shaping the future of legal tech in Czechia and Slovakia. And I hope you are using their software because it's will be exciting conversation with one of the top legal tech software in Europe and see their vision. Lastly, I'm Peter Bilyk. Will also be sharing my experience with you. Chief Information Officer and Head of Technology and Information Practice at Juscutum law firm. I have had the opportunities to work at the intersections of law and technologies. I have launched some of startups in legal tech and fintech, and my work at Juscutum law firm has been recognized in the Financial Times Innovative Lawyers Report at 2020 and 2022. We look forward to a day discussion and learning. Thank you for being a part of this event. Let's explore the future of legal tech together. Why do we do it? At ELTA, our main objective is to strengthen legal technology, legal tech at European level. And today we'll talk about the portrait of lawyer, about different technologies which are using for lawyers in different countries, impact AI, startup communities, and ecosystem. And our first question for all of you, it's the future lawyer. Who is it? Which hard skills and soft skills should they have to be successful? Maybe Przemysław start.
Okay, so I will start. Thank you, Peter, for asking us this question. Nice to meet you all, all the attendees of today's event. Well, as of your question, I would say that future of legal profession and let's say future lawyer is a person that after he decides, let's say, of their legal profession path, just starts to broaden their scope of interests, of the, let's say, education, of gaining the experience in different part of the specializations, not only from the legal side, but also from the other sides and other perspective of, let's say, the specialization topics. So if you would say, and for example, if you would, for example, say that if someone is working within the environmental law, such future lawyer won't be only focused only on, let's say, legal basic grounds and legal provisions, but also would focus also on the other, maybe some technical and maybe some other meritoric side also of such projects. So it's something, future lawyer is someone who not only can advise on a legal perspective, but also to do it in a good level, also understands the business and also understands the whole environmental factors, including also technology. So also from this perspective, future lawyer, in my opinion, is also a person who is not afraid, but mainly uses technology to not only to use it to provide service, but also to improve day-to-day organization and administration even of the legal business. So such answer in short.
Okay, then I go on with this topic, if you don't mind. I think there are two tendencies here now. The one is, or there are more tendencies, and amongst these tendencies, the technology, the rising of technology, and the technology is becoming more and more important, is just one tendency, because there are other ones, and I just mentioned two of them. The one is that the law is changing also in a way that the ex post law, so liability, civil, the classical civil law and penal law, their significance is decreasing. The number of trials are dramatically decreasing everywhere in the world. So litigation as a central activity for lawyers is becoming less and less important. What is getting more and more important is the compliance part of the law, that the lawyers have to be prepared this is how Juscutum puts it, that lawyers should be risk managers. So this part of the legal work, that you have to foresee what's going on, you have to make predictions, you have to also be a risk manager, and that also comprises that you use systems, for example, where this compliance activity is done. So you make reports, generate reports, and all these kind of things is becoming more and more important. I'm often asked that why do lawyers should be then programmers? They should learn programming in the future. No, I don't think so. But they should learn to use those systems which are something to do with this compliance activity. That's one part of the story, and then the other is that, and I have to mention the ChatGPT, because there'll be, I think we will be discussing that topic thoroughly, but I think it's very important that ChatGPT is really a game changer in a way that it can generate very good texts. And I think that those lawyers who will not get acquainted with this new technology will be lost. So this will be crucial to learn these new, and not necessarily the ChatGPT itself, but the natural language processing, new natural language processing technologies, because in the coming few years, this will be more and more important. And this won't replace lawyers, but those who will not, but those lawyers would replace who will be using this technology, those lawyers who won't. So I think that's these two things are what I see is the future of lawyers.
Okay, Lubomir.
Okay, welcome everybody. I think that the colleagues mentioned quite everything. What we see in our region is that there is more and more specialization. And if you want to be competitive on the market, the legal offices and the lawyers are more specialized in a specific area of law to be the number one and find the customers. And the second one, as the colleagues mentioned, is I agree also that the lawyer should not be a programmer, but what we see also with the ChatGPT, that there is very useful if you are a prompting expert, because the right answer, even from the GPT, depends very much on how you build your prompt, and that will be the advantage if the new lawyers will be able to make this prompting on the right way. And it's not a programming, but it's some skill of prompting.
Okay, thank you so much. I absolutely agree with you. And this is one of the way how I, as a lawyer, transform before, because in my practice, I spent a lot of time to learn about new technologies. How does it work? How will this transform some areas, and look about how this technology will be regulated in the future, and which legal services will be actual for some tech founders and entrepreneurs. And another hot topics, and all of you talked about it, it's AI, and AI as transformation of the legal professional. And this is hot topics of this year, and I think some of another. And could each of you share a case study where the adoption of AI in your legal profession, or some use cases to improve the efficiency, or allows you to achieve more with these instruments?
I'll start with that because I cannot share a case study like that. The thing is that actually the use of AI in law offices, I think that these are two distinctive eras. So we have a new era has been started when ChatGPT appeared. So we can talk about the pre-ChatGPT era and the post-ChatGPT era. So the pre-ChatGPT era, as we all know, in Eastern European countries and in Southern Europe, the structure of the legal profession is that there are a lot of small offices. 90%, more than 90% of the lawyers are working in small or solo offices. Now, in these places, there was no place for AI and experimentation. So that's why I cannot tell a particular case study. But what I know is that the big law offices were experimenting AI machine or systems that were based on machine learning, like automatic classification systems and these kind of things. But they were not very much successful. As far as I know 3 or 4 of these examples. I heard 3 or 4 of these examples coming from big legal firms, and they were, both of them were disappointed with the results. It's partly because of the language that they have to train the model into Hungarian, which is sometimes very painful. And the other thing is that actually the effort that they put into the training and installing the system was a lot more than what finally came out of the system. So it was not efficient enough. So what I can tell is that in the pre-ChatGPT era, there were not too many successful use cases for using AI tools. Now, what is coming is, of course, that what will happen with the ChatGPT, no one knows. It's just started, and I know that some of our colleagues are experimenting with the ChatGPT, and I can tell that what they told me is that the experiences or the outcomes are very, very impressive, already very impressive. So this will be really a game changer, I think.
Maybe I can add. At the moment, a lot of law offices contact us as a number one provider of professional informations, and what we see, and maybe the one of the case study is what Wolters Kluwer have, but not at the moment sold in our region, but in another one, is Dela AI, which is a software for contract reviewing. That if you make an M&A and you have a lot of contracts, you just upload it in the system, and it uses the AI for analyzing the text and to highlight, and then you can question the system for specific questions like, okay, find me all the NDA articles and etc. And then you can work more efficiently on a lot of document and find the places where, for example, it's something that you should take care about it. This is one where I see the AI can help to the lawyers be a lot more efficient. And second of it's also the research database or the way how to search and structure the result will change, because we see it in the past as we started 20 years or 25 years ago. We had a form where you fill out a lot of fields, then the Google come out and the user started to use only one input line, and that's it. All the research database change it, and at the moment the result list will be not just a pure list of documents, but the user will expect already have some prepared answers, which can then verify with the sources where is it built from, but the way how the result is also for the search machine like Google, which already Google announced that they started to play with the beta, where the result is more oriented on the answer, like on the pure result list. That's the second one. And the third one, what we are also experimenting at the moment in our company is for contract drafting, which really for example, the jump between the ChatGPT 3.5 and the ChatGPT 4 is huge, and the time between 3.5 and 4 is some months. That means I would say in the past the efficiency for contract drafting will be something where the technology can be used. And for the result, for the research, for the small lawyers, will be also very helpful, I would suppose, because the big companies, of course, have a lot of juniors, which make for them the research work, yeah, and then the seniors just use the outcome and make the analysis of them and prepare the right answer for the clients. But this is where the small offices or single lawyers need to make it by themselves, and that ChatGPT or this new AI technology can make them really more efficient and competitive to the big law offices.
Okay.
Okay, and I can also tell about Polish market. Well, in relation to what Zsolt has said before. We have, let's say, times before ChatGPT and after. If we are talking about the times before, I would say that maybe at first not AI, but just simple RPAs were used in mid and bigger size law firms in different areas of internal business sides with billing, with maybe some invoicing and so on. So it wasn't something unusual to have such RPAs in a law firms. As of artificial intelligence tools, I would say that they were mainly used by the bigger ones, and in most cases, those bigger ones were, let's say, offices of the international law firms, mainly the American ones, or from Magic Circle from London. So because they had some implementations from their headquarters. For example, the areas that also was mentioned was M&As. A couple of bigger law firms, international bigger law firms, started using, for example, Luminance to analyze contracts within due diligence processes. What's more, also other contract analytical tools. And from my perspective, also from maybe not from implementing and using by myself, but from participating in some projects of implementing it, was AI tools for extraction and analysis of data. From the perspective of bigger ones, let's say bigger litigation law firms, it was even useful and maybe not easier, but very useful from the business side to start using such tools, in particular within the simple cases when they are rather standard ones. So if you extract data, you need more human, let's say, work, less to be done within such project, because in most cases the job is done by the tool. But from the perspective of such law firms, I would say that there were two or maybe even three obstacles for the market. It was the budget, because such implementations are rather expensive ones. The second one, to build a team that will work within the project at least for a couple of months to participate in implementation and in training of data, and after that validating it. And the third one, I would say, possible time to create, let's say, some training data, is because from the perspective of law firms, the most important thing in a legal profession is our client confidential information, so and rights. So from this perspective, a lot of law firms, a lot of lawyers are mainly maybe not afraid of training, but they would rather don't have time to prepare such fake model data just to start training. So from this perspective, we could also just jump to probably the end of this year when Microsoft will, let's say, provide to all 365 users on the business licenses the Copilot. So probably the first one from the biggest one are KPMG, as they announced last week, I suppose. Last week, the information about another agreement with between the KPMG and Microsoft. So I'm curious also how it will go.
Okay, thank you. And it's very interesting. And one of the questions which I see in LinkedIn, and some lawyers, I think, afraid that AI can change their job. And let's discuss when Wolters, Kluwer, and another project will add ChatGPT or another natural model in their systems. Will the entrepreneur or people need the lawyer, for example, for drafting contracts, or they will do it themselves? And which roles will be the lawyer in this case?
I would say the lawyer will be necessary anytime at the moment. What will change, by my opinion, is the efficiency. Yeah, the efficiency of the work of the lawyers will change. Maybe some standards, forms or standard contracts, easy contracts will be generated automatically. But on the end of the day, I'll give you an example. If you will sell your, for example, your property or house, or do some contract of your property in a high amount of money, then you will still want to have the insurance that you made everything right. Yeah, and then I don't think that the people will just trust on the technology. They will really need to go to the lawyers and say, okay, I want to check the contract for selling, for example, the house, because it's my quite all money that I have. Secondly, the big law offices and the cases, what they at the moment manage, like big M&A and specific IP rights and so on, there will be still need the work of the professionals and the human work. But I agree, the way how for preparation, all of the data for research and for standard things will be more and more automated. And also for a non-professional, we told them paralegals, for example, like the people working for the municipalities. They are not lawyers, but they are dealing with the law. They are not looking for the article of a law and to make their own opinion. They are looking for the answers. Yeah, and then for them it will be very helpful, I would say, to use this technology and get the first time answer, which in the difference with the current GPT, then they can verify from which sources the answer is built. But I don't think really that the work of the lawyers will disappear, or that the lawyers will be less. Also.
Okay. And I absolutely agree with you, and I think that it's a game changer, and the daily work of lawyers will change, and you should understand that the main value from lawyers is solve clients' issues or clients' problems, and it will be one of the additional instruments to make it efficiency and more quickly for clients' perspective. And from our side in Ukraine, we also have some technologies from Liga of which uses AI for contract drafting, for contract review, and for court prediction. But I think that ChatGPT will allow to develop more legal tech products and will change some of other processes in the daily work. And I think and I hope that more junior lawyers will also can start to do their work more qualified and more quickly, and to work with a harder task. And they can also use AI to learn something new and improve their work with AI. And in this perspective, also can ask you about AI regulation from the European Parliament. Will the new AI regulation be seen as opportunity for AI and legal tech in Europe or not? And can provide some obstacles, and what do you think about it?
Maybe I can.
Okay. Can I just start? I mean, because I have a very sharp opinion on that. I don't think that it. I mean, the AI Act itself won't be it won't encourage the AI research and development. It will be more an obstacle, and that's one thing. We are very proud of our we Europeans. We can regulate everything, and we are very proud of that. But I mean, I think doing things is a lot more valuable than regulating things. That's basically that's what I think about this whole part. It's good that we have a comprehensive regulation, but from another perspective, it's also very problematic. It will raise the bureaucratic burdens of those companies who want to deal with or develop AI, any kind of AI or machine learning projects that want their life will be a lot more harder. That's one part of the story. The other is that the logic of the AI regulation is such that it is based on a product eligibility logic. So it borrows rules from those norms which are intended to, for example, to regulate the cars and planes and whatever. So this is more, these are rules that were designed to protect the health and environment of people. And now this has been used to protect human rights. And I think that's just the wrong way of doing things. I am totally, I think that we're gonna have a lot of problems out of that before you develop something, you have to make a human rights impact assessment. And this is, I mean, to make an impact assessment for which concerns the health and the safety, that's one thing, because that's quantifiable. But if you want to make an assessment on human rights, that, for example, your system will be biased or something, that's not easy. I cannot even imagine that how it will be done. So my basically, and I know this is a very sharp opinion, I'm very much worrying about the AI industry in Europe because of the AI Act. I'm not very happy about this. So my answer is a definite. It will be more an obstacle than a good thing. But probably your opinion is different from mine.
No, maybe if I can continue on your answer, is that I see two points. What is necessary to mention is, first of all, I heard a professor from a technical university and was asked on the artificial intelligence in connection of the EU regulation, etc. And he was laughing and thought, okay, first of all, we should find in Europe that we can also develop this kind of technology, because at the moment the technology is developed in the US and also is in the US, and we as a Europeans should firstly think about it, how to catch the gap between the Americans and the Europeans, because you can't stop any technology or technology development with any regulation. It will be here, it will be developed, and it will be the future. That it's 100% sure. But second of is what I understand, because we are the provider of professional informations, and what we see already is the question of the copyright or author's content. Because if you want to make a good legal ChatGPT, as to mentions, you need to provide to the AI the content, and also to provide the author's content. Of course, if you use the ChatGPT, had an agreement with them that they do not use your content for the global ChatGPT, it's okay. But how can I prevent that some of my clients, for example, that have paid access to my database, do not copy, for example, the commentary or the articles and put it in the global ChatGPT, and that the global ChatGPT learn from my author's content, which I'm not allowed at the moment? Who will be responsible for, who will be charged, how to find out, because it's something different at the moment. If you publish or piracy the content and put it on the internet, it's something different. But now you use the author's content to teach the AI technology, and to find out if the technology is teach on your content will be harder, and also it will be not so easy to protect the copyrights, I would say. And there I see should be the focus of the legislation, but not to stop it or to make some obstacles to use it or to develop products, but to take care how to protect the intellectual property of the content.
Okay.
And I would just also add, because I agree with both colleagues, that there is a problem, because we have three AI markets. We have American one, the first one, the second one without any control, so the Chinese one, and the third one, European Union, which will be the most regulated one, as always, on the different side of the markets. So from this perspective, it would be for sure an obstacle for potential development of also legal tech, European Union legal tech startups and technology. As we are also talking about the differentiation of the tolls, I would say that in my opinion, I don't know if it would be better to divide, let's say, the AI as of potential use. If we divide it for a private use or a public one. From the perspective of the public one, so if we would use it by the authorities, if it would be used within the law enforcement or judiciary, for sure it should be regulated at the highest level. Is because also related to human rights and also citizens' rights, and even considering potential criminal proceedings. But from perspective of the private sector, I would say that there should be, at least at the beginning of creation of such technology, some scope of maybe not freedom, but some scope for learning of the industry, just to develop the tools to see in which scope and in which directions it will go. So from this perspective, AI regulation probably could be an obstacle in future. For example, it was even the case when the European Parliament changed the version of AI regulation before it was adopted because of ChatGPT, because it would be qualified as high risk. As within this scope of AI regulation, it has too big influence on potential users and potential rights. Also, it's biased, and also it could be easily tricked. It gives you a lot of hallucination effects. So it could be also a potential danger. But if you are talking about possibilities for the legal tech market, I would rather see also like it would be probably rather an obstacle, is because the main creators, developers of AI technologies now are startups. I'm not talking about the bigger actors on the market, but rather smaller startups, people with ideas to think about something, to create something and start a new business. If they would have in future, they will have in future a lot of more obligations, including risk and compliance assessments. It would be much more expensive for them, even to start even testing phase, not talking about even marketing it. So yes, from this perspective, it would be for sure an obstacle.
And one more remark, if I may. Actually, here in Eastern Europe and Central Europe, the innovation is always coming from big organizations. Since we have this fragmented market, which is dominated by small solo lawyers, I think the innovative drive is coming from the big, for example, from courts. What I see is that the small law firms adopted technologies only if they were forced by some technological changes by the courts, or for example, or a legal change, a change in legislation. Because, for example, in 2000, at the end of the first decade, a new electronic registration, company registration procedure has been introduced in Hungary, and therefore all the lawyers were forced who wanted to have registration, wanted to register a company. They had to change, or they had to adopt these new tools. So that's the thing. So if these big companies are the drivers for the technological change, and this is I'm quite sure of it. And one of very important here, this is a very important thing, that these big organizations very often use small companies, for example, startups, and this is a big, huge possibility for small startups to develop things. But if these big companies are developing something under the AI Act, they have to, and this is considered to be a high risk, then these small companies also have to comply with all the requirements that is written So this will be a big problem, because from that moment on, this means for me that for example, the courts or the public prosecution or these big organizations, which were the drivers of the innovation and also business possibilities for small companies, they cannot use, or they will be reluctant to use these small companies, because these small companies are not prepared to comply with all these obligations that is written in the AI Act. So this is a real danger for the startups. That's in my opinion.
I agree with you. And in Ukraine, we see and view what is happening in European Union, and how will you implement this regulation, and what will be the market feedback of it. And as I know, this AI Act consists of some terms of regulation sandbox. And I have written that Spain announced their regulation sandbox for AI. Did you hear about any regulation sandboxes in your countries?
Not really, no.
Przemysław, Lubomir, maybe you?
If we are talking about AI and potential country regulation, no. The official position of our Minister of Justice is that it makes no sense to introduce anything in the country law before we have, the finish of the all legislative procedure on the EU level.
Okay.
We also not.
Okay, so let's move to education, education of legal tech in your countries. Can you share the role of universities and legal education in promoting legal tech in your countries? Maybe some bar association reacting to the rise of legal tech, or do you have any educational programs for using legal tech tools in your region? And or maybe you teach legal tech and can share your experience and feedback from lawyers. Do they understand the importance of it, and that they will use it when they go to their own legal practice?
Okay, I start because I'm the academic guy. We don't have undergraduate programs in legal tech in law schools. We don't have it. We have some courses which are about legal database, using legal databases, so legal research, basically. That's the basics of legal research, and they are actually learning the big systems. The Wolters system, that's the market leader here in Hungary, so they learn that, and we have these courses at the first year in law schools. But we don't have legal tech, like that, the practice management software, document assembly software, and all this kind of advanced anything. They don't know anything about it. So this is a kind of disastrous situation. I have several attempts to somehow, to introduce or to convince the deans and the law schools that it's at least an optional subject or something should be offered for the law students. But what either I'm not very too convincing, or they are living in the past. I don't know, but I was not able to convince them to introduce such subjects. On the other hand, we have LLM programs, so postgraduate programs, where there are legal tech panels. So like technology lawyers, and I don't know, information society, something. So these are several LLM programs which are have these new technology regulation or something. And the part of this program is a course on legal tech, but it is not a practical. I'm also teaching on these LLM programs, and it is not technical. So they are not sitting in front of a computer and they learn the practice software or something like that. It's like that theoretically, I'm just telling them that what kind of legal tech solutions are there in the advanced world, and so how can you imagine these these things, and then some of them are very open for that. But this is more theoretical. So I wouldn't say that the situation is very good in Hungary. That's basically the situation in Hungary.
Okay.
Here in Czech and Slovakia, it's quite similar. That means on the universities and the law universities are 2 semesters of research database. It's not obligatory. We are also the leader, but all the systems are taught at the moment. That means we have 2 competitors, one is ChangeBack and one is a local one, Atlas Consulting, and all the 3 systems are teach on all the universities. What we see, there is no special technical legal tech programs, but the universities try to find grants for postgraduate students. At the last time on a law university in Brunn is case law analysis. That means enhancing the case law with meta information, clustering the case law, etc. And this kind of small projects are done on the university. That means if you are interested, but you really need to be interested and to find out this kind of project, then you can be a part of it, but it's not something that it's very broad.
Yes,
as of Poland, I agree that from the academic perspective, if we are talking about undergraduate studies, as for now, it's rather a problem. I would say most cases there are even simple one subject during the studies that would be related to legal technology or even legal design or something similar for let's say the future of legal profession. There are a few universities that, but mainly because of, let's say, some dedicated and passionate lecturers that introduce, let's say, one subject related to, let's say, to their seminaries on master thesis. So it's rather related to small groups. It's not broader. It's not for broader perspective on the whole legal department at university. And as we are talking about postgraduates, so we could say also LLMs in Poland, we have 2 or 3 postgraduate studies on legal tech itself, and 2 on legal tech, probably 1 or 2 on legal design. So they are dedicated. They are rather multidisciplinary, but mainly related to these topics. I think that we have 1 or 2 postgraduate studies related to emerging technologies, like, for example, tokenization and blockchain on Silesian University, and they have 1 subject related to also to legal tech and cybersecurity related to the legal profession. And at these studies and that studies, they have lessons also related to coding. So so from this perspective, it's quite good that they organize such studies. I could also indicate on, let's say, some other events organized by NGOs or some, let's say, National Bar Council. We created Institute of Legaltech, which one of our poles of interest is also to educate advocates in Poland and also other interested people in topics related to legal profession, legal technology, legal design, and so on. So it's a much broader aspect. Also, the other concurrent Association of Attorneys at Law in Poland. They also have their different committees related to Legaltech, and they also organize some events, some conferences, like for example, Warsaw Bar Association of Attorneys at Law organized a couple of weeks ago international conference on Legaltech. So from this perspective, also bar associations are, let's say, interested in this topic, and also to educate their members and lawyers in Poland. I think, yes, I remember that there is also one company, service provider and toll provider of Legaltech services that organize also with two universities events related to the change of the legal profession, also related to to Legaltech. So we are not at the end, from this standpoint, but probably there is also a lot to do, in particular on the undergraduate studies.
It's interesting, and interesting your opinion. Do you think universities should change their program and to add some subjects related to legal tech tools for practical lawyers, or it's okay that these studies under postgraduate and law firms have internal training about some systems which they use?
I could say it very shortly. From my perspective, it's not even about teaching the students how to use tools. It's rather a change of their mindset. You can teach them, you can show them some, let's say, special changes in the processes in general, in law firm organizations. You can show them how to use tools, maybe not the specific ones, but in overall that could improve, let's say, the work or providing the services. And it's rather a change of mindset that they should think in the future that is a part of their job, or even a part of, let's say, their work, if they won't be a lawyer in future, just maybe practicing some other professions, but still technology, still, let's say, new approach to communication, to providing of services. It's something new and in its future, for not only for the legal profession, but in let's say, consulting services at all.
Let me just add to one sentence. I totally agree. It's about the changing of the mindset and see how to see the law from different viewpoint, because more and more legal rules are translated into technological processes. So all the electronic processes. Now we have electronic processes in Hungary, which like, for example, the company registration process, and there will be more of these processes, and lawyers do not know. They know, of course, the letter of the law, what is written in the law, but they don't know what happened when these letters were translated to procedures, to electronic procedures. So like XML schemes, or what happens when they submit an electronic document. Then there is an automatic checking of the document, and what happens with that. They don't know it, and I'm not saying that they should learn what's inside the machine. What I'm saying is that they have to know basically that how these rules are translated into electronic procedures. So this is a different way of thinking. That's one thing. And this translation from another perspective is the legal design. I think the legal design itself is a very important thing, because more and more legal procedures and more legal phenomena will be represented on the screen. So the ordinary citizen will have a contact with the law on the screen. And therefore, how you represent these legal rules, how you design the interfaces where legal procedures are performed, I think that's crucial. And this is again a mindset that the lawyers should know that, okay, I'm a lawyer, I know the rules, but I also have to know, I have to have an idea that how this should be this should be displayed to an ordinary citizen. So legal design is all about that, and I think that's very important. So I totally agree. It should be the changing of the mindset, or the increasing the ability of the law students to think not only in terms of the letter of the law, but also that how it will be translated into electronic procedures, and this is very, very important, and this should be taught in a way. I don't know exactly how, but it should be. I think it should be taught in the law schools.
And maybe I add only two last things is, as I mentioned previously, I think the knowledge of the prompting, good prompting should be teach on the university, that the junior lawyers are then already aware how to correctly prompt for example, the ChatGPT or this kind of software. And secondly, they should be aware where are the limits, because they should not trust the technology without thinking about it. What's already happened also with the research databases today, that they trust it and do not verify the things. And these are the two things that, by my opinion, should be teach or start to be teach at the law universities.
Okay.
If I may just show you all something, just sure. You can see one of the interesting pages, statistics of Polish law courts and deep neural networks. It's a project, educational experiment project of one of the lawyers who is rather not a lawyer anymore. He's just focusing on his different AI projects. You can see in English also experiment basing on data from a couple of years from our courts in division of a different type of the cases. So even from this perspective, it could be easily taught on the universities, and also with respect to some analytical issues related to some legislation changes. So you can also start training, inspect the model. So the more such projects, the more the educational side would be also better from my perspective.
Okay, thank you. It's interesting, and I think it's some of the ways which is absent for legal professional, maybe for legal university, and for teach the person, and for analysis. And in Ukraine, for example, we right now try to re-innovative internal data statistic portal, and to redevelop its more user-friendly and more understandable for analysis, different interest, different areas, spheres, some data from course maybe, and so on. And I think it will allow to more understand practical lawyers to understand some industries which will redevelop or growth, and to make the right decision. And about universities in Ukraine, we also have a lot of postgraduate program, for example, from Lingo, about Legaltech Academy, some programs from BCA about crypto lawyers, some programs about how to use different technologies in their legal practice. At the same time, we had one course in one or two university about legal innovations. And right now I know that university, Ukrainian Catholic University has a course about legal tech tools and legal innovation. And right now we are discussing with some of universities about discuss about AI technology and blockchain technology for lawyers to understand the concepts and how does it work. And as lawyers and law firm, we spent a lot of time to teach our lawyers to use different technology in their work because we understand that it's important and it can allows us to do more things in the same time. And the question to you, Przemysław, what do you use in your legal practice? Which tools allows to you to be more efficient?
Well, from my experience, I'm using, let's say, case management system to organize my, let's say, whole internal work. I'm working also on 365 applications. So I'm also using a lot of different functionalities included there. What's more, I use a lot of different messaging apps. It depends also on the, let's say, sector of the client. If we are talking about, let's say, clients from the IT sector or any, let's say, similar ones, so we are mostly working with the use of Slack. So it's because they're using it also within their, let's say, businesses. What's more, I think that from my perspective, you should, when we are thinking about start using such tools, not only in your law firm, but also within your business, you should start thinking about what processes you have in your organization. And after that, start thinking if there is a place for using or for such tools, if it would be related also to some improvements within your organization. So it also depends on the size of organization. If you have smaller one, it's probably even better to use a smaller amount of such tools. My experience also from bigger organizations could show that too much tools is even worse than using only one or two. It's because you would spend too much time on, let's say, using them and transferring data, filling all the forms, and even start using them at the same time. So from my perspective, they are mainly related to internal case management and also related to communication. I sometimes also use some analytical tools, but in cases where they are really needed. So it's not mainly on day-to-day basis. As of ChatGPT and similar ones, I don't use it just for providing services. It's mainly related to confidential information that I cannot use it within it, and plus there are too many risks related to even potential hallucinations and biases included with using of such tool. But from the perspective, let's say, of even us, I spoke with my lot of different lawyer friends. They use it even to create LinkedIn posts or create some short information that does not require any confidential information to be used within the prompts. So at least it's useful.
Lubomir, what is maybe the most popular tools from Wolters Kluwer in your markets, and what do you recommend to use lawyers for their daily work?
At the moment, we are providing as the prime product for the lawyers the research database. This is the product number one. Then we also have case management system. That means for case filing, billing, etc. And at the moment, of course, we are starting to thinking about how to use the ChatGPT or AI technology, even to make some new products or some enhancement to the current products that should be that the lawyers could be more effective. What we also try out is automated forms. That means this is a software which simulates the communication between the clients and the lawyers, and on the end of the day generates a final contract. But this was not so accepted at the market, or not sold very well. I don't know why. Maybe is that what I mentioned previously. If you sell something like a property or a house or something like that, you even do not want to trust this kind of technology, and you better go to the lawyer to be very sure. And if you make some very simple contract like I don't know, NDA or something like that, that you just fill some very simple form, that you do not need this kind of software that is interactive and simulate the communication between the lawyers. Then maybe it's not the right market for it. But what we see with the ChatGPT on this kind of technology is that, as you mentioned, for example, also, if you today have these case management systems and you need to fill a lot of information in it, if you want to use it for a statistical or for a search, etc., that ChatGPT can be maybe very helpful to automate this kind of workflow, and helps to fill out a lot of information from the current data what you have, and also easier to search over all knowledge bases that you have stored, even in the O365, in the case management system, in the research database, that maybe in the future you will have only one software where you ask, and the software will search across all the information sources that you use in your office. And the last thing what we implemented or have a software for it and was asked by the lawyers is safe shared of information between the lawyer and the customers. That means it's not used at some law offices don't want to interchange the information between the customer and the law office via email, clouds, etc., but via secure personal clouds. This is also one part of the software what we saw.
May I just, because I'm academic, but I worked for Wolters for 15 years, so I have some knowledge about also the Hungarian legal market and also we have a little research group comprised of judges and attorneys, and this is digitaljustice.hu, and we made really a lot of this kind of research. And I think the crucial point here is that the economy of size. So if you have a small office, if you're a solo lawyer, if you don't have too many cases, then automation, even case management system, is not necessary, because you can just have your data in an Excel sheet or something. But that's the thing. That's the thing. But if you have, I think, something like 3-4 lawyers who are working together, which have in aggregate like hundreds of cases, and the complexity of the cases are a little bit higher, because they have some M&A cases or whatever, so complex cases where they have to deal with a lot of clients or a lot of people and a lot of events they have to manage and something like that. Now this is the complexity where software and automation come in, and I think our Central European market is except I think the Polish, because in Poland, as far as I know, you have bigger law firms, or at least the size of the law firms. The structure is a little bit different because, but in Hungary, this is simply an economy of size thing. What I learned from, because I talked with some of the guys with leading who are developers of leading case management software on the legal market, and I think that the most popular have something like 200 subscribers, which is compared to the 12,000 attorneys. Like, this is not that's a huge number. So you can and the others also have some dozens or hundreds of subscribers or users for their software. So that's and this is an economy of size thing, and that's why I'm telling that legal tech innovation in legal tech is basically coming from big organizations. If the courts will innovate, then there will be innovation in these markets. These small offices by themselves will not come to the conclusion that, okay, I have to automate because they don't have so many cases and their life is not so complex, and then economy of size is not reaching that level that they have to So that's basically my kind of academic opinion on that. I'm not a practitioner, but that's how I see the situation of legal tech in law offices.
Maybe in relation to what just Zsolt said, in Poland we have something about 75% of legal professionals who are working within their solo or up to 3 people law firms.
But that's less than in Hungary. So
yeah, so it's less. The rest they are working within the biggest ones or mid-size, or they are just in-house lawyers. So it's also it depends. And from this perspective, National Bar Council started a project with Wolters Kluwer. I think 2 months ago. Yeah, 2 months ago, and we just maybe not give but propose to our members, to advocates and legal trainees, to have much cheaper subscription of dedicated case management product. So it's dedicated. It was changed also with the work of National Bar Council. But still, the main reason for it is just to increase, let's say, the knowledge of using any of such tools, and also to show the members that it's even maybe not. It's not faster to start using such tools, but it's a possibility, one of the possibilities to start with. So and from our perspective, our members don't have argument of the price, because it's still the price is so low to use this one. So I think that it won't be case. It's something around divided around 40 couple of euros for the whole year.
Yeah.
So the price is really cheap.
Okay. In Ukraine, I think our law firm is like legal geeks, because we are using a lot of legal tech software in our internal work. It's case management system, it's legal research system in Ukraine, and separate one for international legal research. We use case law research system, court prediction system, contract drafting and contract review system. We use AI, but in case when we can remove some confidential or sensitive data from the task and to improve it. We also use different forms, use system for knowledge, shared knowledge base. We use some system for drafting different schemes for legal structure, and so on. And we have a lot of questions maybe for the next session, but right now we have limited times. And one of the goal of European Legal Tech Association is to create a transparent platform to facilitate networking among the various European protagonists and stakeholders of legal tech. And the last question for this session, could you each recommend some maybe legal tech event, conference, or perhaps a specific organization, magazines, or innovation hub in your respective countries that should attend or visit to stay abreast of the legal tech products and development?
So, if you are talking about the English for the English speaking attendees, I would say that we don't have a lot. It's mainly in Polish. We have in Polish Legaltech forum organized by BEC, press the German press provider of legal press, and there is also legal hackathon, either related to the global legal hackathon or related to the local ones, but mainly organized by Wolters Kluwer. It would be also this year, probably in the autumn. We have some smaller events related to hackathons. Our government probably organizes something like 2 or 3 even different legal hackathons related to, let's say, open data or some specific project related to some ministries. If I'm thinking about, it's rather searching for events that are organized by those NGOs or even organized by bar associations. Than some specific, let's say, investor or some funds related to startups. I think that from the perspective of legal tech in Poland, we don't have such English speaking events. It's rather to be checked every time.
It's quite the same for the Czech, I would say. At the moment, I do not remember. There are some conferences, but they are not on a repeated yearly base. That I would suppose it's if you are interested, then it's good to look on internet if something is happening. I'm not aware. Maybe it's something, but I'm not aware at the moment.
Okay.
My remark is that we have this more or less functioning small research group, which is under the Digital Justice.eu. We organized an international conference last year in summer. I was a little bit disappointed because it was not as popular as I thought. So the number of registrations were below like 70, 80. And I expected something like more than 100. So it's not. And I'm not sure, I don't think that we're going to organize it again. We have Hungarian sites like which is called the arsboni.hu, and since you have excellent translations now, translation tools, so you can read a lot of legal tech articles on that. We have a section there. My colleagues and the members of this small research group are writing regularly articles, legal tech articles, also concerning the Hungarian situation. There is a guy who is writing regularly on the situation of legal tech in Hungary on that section. So and this is also called Digital Justice, Digitális Jogalkalmazás. So, but I also wouldn't say that the legal tech scene is a very lively and vivid something in Hungary. So that's basically the situation. And of course, there is the Wolters Kluwer, which is still I think the biggest company also in Hungary in legal tech terms.
Okay, so in Ukraine we had some hackathons and yearly challenges before Russian invasion, and right now we have actively a community of legal hackers in Lingo. They organize some events, and we from ELTA also help them with some cases. So European Legaltech Association is one of the biggest community of legal technology specialists, and if you like these topics, just subscribe us in different social medias, and also become a member of European Legaltech Association, and also subscribe to this excellent speakers of this session in their social media. They time to time share some insights and experience in and knowledge in some topics. Thank you for attending this webinar. If you have any questions, just write them in chat or raise your hand and ask.
If I may just ask, if I may just add something, based on my experience for the last couple of years, responding to our attendees, just ask if you have any questions from any of countries that ELTA is in. Just contact the local ambassador and ask questions. I had a lot of different contacts from also Western European Western countries, like also from the South one, and even from the East countries also. So we're just always helpful just to give you information how the market is with respect to the tool that you would like to market. So.
So thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice evening. Stay in touch.